With that being said, I'm going to jump in right with my first question. So, Juan, with that, tell me a little bit about who Juan is outside of clockwork, off the mats. Tell us a little bit about your background. Tell us what you do for a 9 to 5, and just tell us a little bit about Juan.
All right, dude. So, I was born and raised in South America in Ecuador. Came to the States when I was 16, close to be 17. Dude, I hated living with my dad because, like, I never met him before I came here. So I was like, I got to get out of here. Got my own apartment when I was 17. Then, I was around drugs and all the things that a 17-year-old kid shouldn't be around. So I was like, man, I got to go. I got to go. And one of my good friends at the time was trying to join the reserves, the Army reserves. And she was like, dude, you should join. But the fact that I had to come back home after training, I was like, nah, I don't want to come back. If I leave, I leave. I don't want to come back. So joined college for 6 months. I learned some English, and then I was in the Army. Right before I turned 18, like, I was already talking to a recruiter, joined the Army. Spent 9 years in the Army as an infantry guy. Did 3 tours to Iraq. I went to Ramadi, Taji, and Baghdad.
Wow.
After that, like, after my third deployment, while I was over there, while I was getting ready to go, my wife got pregnant. 30 months, like, she was 30 days pregnant, and I had to go. I have to go overseas for 15 months. So when I was over there, my son was born. When I came back, my son was close to be 7 months old. And, still, I was still loving it, but she got pregnant with my daughter. And I was in the States being away from my family because I was working 4 o'clock to 1 o'clock in the morning. And I was like, this is not it. This is not for me anymore. So my unit was getting ready to go to Afghanistan. My contract was about to be over, and my commander wanted me to re-up for another 3 years. And I was like, dude, I just want to go with my guys, bring my guys back home, and get out. He was like, just want to extend my contract 12 months to the deployment's over, and that's it. I don't want anything else. And he was like, nah, we're not having none of that. Either you re-up or you get out now. So I was like, thanks for making it easy for me, man. I'm out. So, that
One,
was 2012, bro.
wow. No, I can't, and I'm sure you've heard this a million and one times, but as somebody who's your training partner, somebody who's rolled with you, somebody who's been out there with you on the mats at least, thank you for your service. Thank you for everything that you've done for the country, most of all, because I know that can be tough. So that leads me to my next question for you. Obviously doing 3 tours in Iraq, you've seen a lot. You've done, you've obviously been out in wars and things of that nature, or war-torn countries. How do you feel coming back home, and dealing with things, or potentially having dealt with things like PTSD or shell shock and war shock? How has that affected your life? And is that what really brought you to jiu-jitsu, or how did you start getting involved in jiu-jitsu during your time in or after?
Dude, that's a rough one. I was diagnosed with PTSD after my first deployment in 2004. So ever since 2004, I had to live with it. During my military life, I was dealing with all the medicine that they prescribed me to battle PTSD with liquor. At a certain point, the meds didn't work anymore, so you do a little extra. Like, I used to, like, to be honest, I used to crush the meds and mix it with a whiskey and chug it like it was nothing. So that was my way to deal with it, to deal with PTSD for the longest time. Then when I got married, I tried to go cold turkey, like, don't do anything. And it was the worst because my wife was dealing with the consequences. And dude, like when I was 2013, I was going bananas. It was a rough time. I was literally fighting my door, like just because I saw a shadow in the middle of the night. I woke up and I started punching the door, thinking it was somebody, you know. And then I choose like a few blocks away, a jiu-jitsu gym open, and I was like, you know what? Let me go try it out. I did combatants in the army. I did the MMA thing like everybody else does. But at the time in New York, it wasn't as big, you know, like it wasn't that many jiu-jitsu schools. So, especially in my neighborhood, I live in East New York. So, you know, ghetto. Um, so there's no jiu-jitsu schools. So I found one, like one was opening. I was like, let me go try it out. And man, it changed my life. It changed everything. Like the way that I was doing it. You know, like I was living my life like with alcohol and medicine. And after that, I was like, screw medicine, and let me just go get choked out by a Brazilian black belt. And that was awesome. I love that. I love that drill. You know, like let's see if I can survive today. That was basically the mentality that I go training with every single time. And then, yeah, I found Clockwork. I found you guys.
Awesome.
And that was the best thing for me, man. Like, I feel like I wasted so many years of trying jiu-jitsu schools until I found Clockwork.
Cool. So, you know, jujitsu is very regimented, kind of like the military in certain ways. Like we have to run our drills, and then we get to test that in sparring and things of that nature. So, do you see any parallels between your time in the military, or not even like the times you were out at war, but just military training in general and jujitsu? Do you see any parallels between the two?
There's one thing that you do in jiu-jitsu. You worry about your guys. You're teaching now. You're a coach.
Right.
So once you hear somebody say "ow," the first thing that goes to your mind is like, "Fuck! What did I do now? Like, are you okay? Is there anything you can? There's anything I can do for you? What can I do to help you?" So it's the same thing in the military. You want to keep all you guys safe. You want to make sure that everybody that you're training with, anybody that you roll with, anybody that is next to you, they're safe. That they're becoming your brothers. And that's what I love about jiu-jitsu in the military. It doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter your background. It doesn't matter how much money you have. There's still the person next to you and the person that is in front of you or behind you. They're your brothers, and you protect them. You want to make sure that they get better. So you know that's the thing that I love about jiu-jitsu in the military. No matter
Awesome.
how you see it, you want to keep the guy next to you safe.
So I know war is not fun, but what about the military life attracted you to go in the first place? I know you said you dealt with a lot of like bullshit growing up, and that kind of got you and a friend got you into like the academy or recruiting or whatever it was. But what about the military life did you, I guess, enjoy the most, or what about the army and the branch you were in did you enjoy the most?
Dude, I mean, I'm one of the guys that can tell you to learn to speak English in the military. Yeah. But I remember like March 2003. 2003. I was in my living room. I was watching the news. I saw all those tanks, all those Bradleys going through Kuwait to Iraq, and you know, like seeing all the little battles that they had, and I was like, man, I gotta go. I gotta be there. I gotta do something. But you know, in the 17-year-old mind, you want to be a superhero. So that was my mentality. I want to go do something. I want to go help these guys. Even though you know, like you don't make much of a change, but still, you want. I wanted to be one of those guys. I wanted to be part of that group, and I'm glad that I did it. That was one of my goals, and I did it, man. And check the box. You know what I mean?
Awesome. And so, what was your biggest takeaway coming out of the military, and how have you used that now as a jiu-jitsu instructor in when you teach your classes?
Dude, coming out of the military, dude, that sucked. It took me years and years, like years to adapt, dude. Like I'm still adapting. And my wife can tell you, like there's a lot of things that I can't adjust. But doing jiu-jitsu, man, that's one of the things that I love. And like I was telling Sebastian right before all this happened, I was like, what I want to teach these guys is like, no matter what happens, no matter how tired you are, you always got something extra in your heart. Your body might be tired, but your mind will never be tired. Your body will do what your brain is gonna tell them to do. So if you train your brain to push a little extra, to push to the limits, nothing's going to stop you. You want to compete, you want to just train for fun, give it all you got. Pick one day of the week that you want to push as hard as you can, and you're gonna see how much extra than for all the days that you train you're gonna push. You know what I mean? So like, there's always a little bit extra, and the guys in the 7 a.m. class can tell you, man. Like, I always try to push them a little extra.
Yeah, man. You guys are the heavyweight kings at 7 a.m. You and
Yeah.
all you and McManus and Kyle. You guys are if you want big boy fights, go to 7 a.m. class, right?
Listen, man, if you weigh 220 and above, man, come to our Friday morning class. We got Big
Uh,
Tom West.
I mean, listen, I love Big Tom West. I've known Big Tom West since I was a white belt. We were white belts together 8 years ago. But yeah, no, definitely big boy class on Fridays there. So, how do you feel jujitsu has really helped you in the long run, coming out of the military, being where you are today, from white to brown? How do you feel jujitsu has helped your life in total? And you know, you talked about clockwork. What specifically about clockwork is what do you love the most about it?
Uh, I want to say 2016, 2000, right before I started in clockwork, 2015, 2016. My brother came to the States to visit, and he, like, like like, I was still messed up. And he told me, the first thing that you have to do is you got to start loving yourself again. You hate yourself way too much. You have to start loving yourself again. Find one thing that you love doing. So, like, I started talking to Giovanni again, and he's the one that got me to clockwork. So I was like, I went there, and finding Ross, finding Sebastian, finding Josh, and getting tapped out the first class by Alex C 17 times. Dude, come on, how can you say no to that? And
There are plenty of people that I think could say no.
but, like, if you hate yourself enough, that you're gonna
Right,
love that.
right.
So, like, that to me, it was showing me that, like, right now, look at all the guys that just because Jason posted a picture showing the love about me being in the military, how many times you guys told me thank you for what you did, thank you for your service, all those things. It showed me that I just don't have to love myself. I have to surround myself with people that love and appreciate what I did and what I'm doing now. And dude, clockwork is the perfect family for that. And my kids now, my daughter's doing jiu-jitsu, so man, I love that. I love seeing the little munchkin jumping around and trying to do things. And
Awesome. Guys, don't forget also drop your questions. Charles, I saw your question. We'll get to that in 2 minutes. But drop your questions for Juan in the chat box below, guys. Do not forget. We will take questions the last 5 to 10 minutes of the show. So you brought it up. Your daughter. I had an opportunity during the last Grappling Industries to watch her compete, and it really has become a family sport, right? Because I see, you're out there at her school where she's training out at the dojo, and I see you're out there training with her and wrestling around with her and and helping her out. So it truly is a family sport now. How do you feel, getting your little ones into jujitsu has helped them as children?
they help, like, my kids, luckily enough, they've been around me doing jiu-jitsu since I started in club work. So my daughter's been asking me for the longest to start doing it, but I just didn't feel like around the neighborhood there was any good schools. And then I met up with Gabriel. That's the owner of the dojo. Shout out, coolest dude around, And he broke it down how he wanted to train her, and I was like, "That's it, dude. Go ahead. There's my munchkin. I trust you." And then see her, going from not being able to do a shrimp to be able to do a lot of crazy things like taking the back. She's really good at taking people's back and choking them. She usually the problem is that she doesn't let go, especially when she tries to do a rear naked choke. You'd be surprised. My wife sometimes has to pull her off, and it's annoying. But so seeing those progress, like seeing her just going from the little like, okay, this is working. I love this, and never stop smiling while she trains or while she competes. That's one of the coolest things for me. That's priceless because she never stops smiling. She's always smiling. She's always having fun, and that's just a reminder that what I'm doing is not for medals. It's not for pleasure. It's not for anything. It's just for the pool. It's pure thrill to have fun and to have friends and to have fun with my friends as well, choking each other out. What's better than that?
There isn't anything better than that. I always say, for me, jiu-jitsu is the place where I get to go choke my friends and not go to jail.
Right?
It's the only place where you can go to try to rip somebody's limbs off, and nobody's calling 911 on you.
Exactly. That's the only time that you fight your friends without having to be drunk and going to jail. So,
I mean, maybe you get a little drunk with some jiu-jitsu people, and if you hang out with Dan Lustig long enough, you might want to choke him out, even sober. So moving, so moving on. What other aspects of, other than the military, what other aspects of jiu-jitsu do you feel has helped in your day-to-day life, right? Because I know you also have like a 9 to 5, like most of us do, right?
well,
So,
mine is like more like a graveyard from 11 to
right.
7 in the morning.
That's why I said 9 to 5, because it's not really a 9 to 5. It's more
Yeah.
like overnight work. But how do you feel jujitsu has prepared you for your current position and your current work, and how you feel it gets you through your night and your day?
Man, most of the time I'm always thinking that, I heard you saying the other day in your podcast. I want to be able to teach jujitsu. I want to be able to do more teaching and more open my academy maybe one day. Like this helps me not thinking about opening my own academy, but to help more vets and parents with kids with kids with autism, because my son has autism, so there you go. So help people like parents with kids with autism. They're always stressed out, and I can get them for a few hours out of the house and go choke some other guy out and release some stress. Why not? If I can show more vets that this is it, this is life, this is where you're gonna have a brotherhood, where you're gonna have friends that is always gonna have you six. Same things that you had in the military, but wearing pajamas. Why not, right? So that's my goal. Help more people outside work. Help more people forget their problems at home and just come for 30 minutes, 40 minutes, whatever time they can, just to come and practice one technique, practice one choke, and release some stress.
Awesome.
And then
So
whenever they're
you
ready, just find an academy that works for them.
Awesome. So you recently, I think it might have been the last Black and Blue roll, or maybe the one before that, got involved with the Black and Blue roll in helping to raise money for your son's school.
Yeah.
I was there for that one, and hopefully, if Josh is watching, we'll get one together soon enough. I know Black and Blue Ball was canceled this year, but um, the Black and Blue Roll, for those guys that are not watching or don't know, is a fundraiser we do at Clockwork Jiu Jitsu every year. We pick a different charity to give money to or different cause. It's run by the New York City hardcore community. John Joseph from the Cro-Mags is one of the people who helps organize it. And then we host it where it's kind of seminar / open mat with a ton of black belts from all over the tri-state that come in. And it's a donation only seminar / open mat. So tell us a little bit about how you got involved with that, or how you brought the idea up, and then ultimately at the end what that felt like for the entire jiu-jitsu community to come out to support your son and support your son's school.
Dude, one of the things that I will always be grateful for is Josh and Kyle, Sebastian, and Ross. Because ever since I started there, they always back me up in anything. In anything that I brought up, they always back me up. The fundraiser was one of those things. I was talking to Josh, and we were just talking, and I was telling him, because before this school, my son had problems. He was in a school that wasn't adapt to his needs, and he was a nightmare. It was a freaking nightmare. So while I was training, I always had to, in the middle of the rolls, I would have to leave that to the school and deal with stuff. So Josh came and he's like, dude, why don't we do a fundraiser and do something and try to help out. So I was like, awesome, you want to do it? Damn, I'm down for it. Let's do it. And I started talking to the school. The school point out the things that they need, and then Josh talked to them. We talked to each other, and once the event happened, I think we raised close to $2,500, and every single penny went to the school. iPods. Sorry, my battery's dying.
It's all good. This is the part about doing it live that
Yeah, you forget about it. But they got new iPods. They got new software for the iPads for the kids that are not verbal and they can communicate. So they communicate just with the iPad. So they were able to get things like that, and it was awesome. Because going from one iPad for an entire class, they went to 4 or 5 iPads with different softwares. So it was pretty cool. And I'm always gonna be grateful for that, man. I don't think any other gym will do that, especially for a guy that has been in the gym for less than 6 months. At that time, I was in the gym for 6 months, and they did it. They did that for me and my family. Come on, nobody would do that.
That's one of the many reasons why I'm Clockwork born and bred, right? It's one of the many reasons why I stay with with Clockwork is because of the things like this and the help that Josh is able to bring to the community and the things that Josh brings to the table. So one of the questions that came across in the box from Big Charles was, what made you pick Clockwork out of all the schools that you had visited? Why did you finally wind up settling on Clockwork as your home base?
I trusted Giovanni. I trust Giovanni with my eyeballs. And Giovanni told me, come train with me, I will be there. You know what I mean? And at that time, when he was a white belt, he used to train with me. We used to be training partners. So when he found out that I quit jiu-jitsu for 2.5 years, he started telling me, come train in Clockwork. These guys are awesome. So I went and I tried a class. Again, Alexi, my first class.
The Mauler.
How can I say no to that?
I hear you. So let's talk about, unfortunately, we've been off the mats for about 2 months, 2.5 months now. When we get back into the gym, what is it that you truly you want to focus on? Because I know you recently, in the last 6 months, maybe a year, got your brown belt.
Yeah.
So what is it that coming back into the gym that you really are looking to focus on in your own game And then what are you looking to get better at as a teacher now who's out there teaching these guys in the morning?
Ah, man, my game is knee bars all day, knee bars, ankle locks. But recently, I've been working in this lapel sitting guard that I opens knee bars and ankle locks more for me. So I've been working on that, and I was telling MK and Griff the other day. I was like, man, it's funny how the morning guys they know me for the lapel thing, and the afternoon guys they know me for the knee bars. So it's pretty funny.
It is very true. I do know you for many of a knee bar because unfortunately half guard is very susceptible to getting knees and foots taken, and I always I find it super duper. I sound super duper. I sound like a little kid. I find it really fun rolling with you because of the. I know the threat of the knee bar is there, right? So it makes me play half guard very differently when I'm playing it with you. Whereas like I have to play it very 50-50, like defense offense, where maybe with somebody else I'm playing it a little bit more to one side than the other. What about the foot lock, leg lock, knee bar game is most attractive to you? Why do you like that game so much?
Dude, we're big guys. We're big guys. We don't move as smooth as the lightweights. That's for sure. And Tom West is dude. He's been my training partner since I started training in Clockwork. At the beginning, I put him in the armbar and he just picked me up, and then when he just shook his arm and I was flying. So I was like, how can I get this guy? Like how can I try to submit him without having to fly 2 meters just because he shook me off? And Josh was like, dude, here's a knee bar from 50-50 that you can try. So, like I started practicing, I started drilling it. And then one morning I did it on Big Tom and I was like, it works. So after that, I was like, okay, let me go find a different knee bar. And then it just went, all right, so knee bars open ankle locks. Let me start practicing ankle locks. And from then, dude, like, it's just being adding and adding. And then I have you, like, man, every single time I roll with you, my knees are sore. So I had to figure something out so my knees are a little safer.
Yeah, that is a common thread, unfortunately, with the way I play half guard and buckle the knee. Um,
But it's amazing. Like, dude, I respect your game, and that's the reason why I try not to be there.
I try to not be near your knee bars, so respect. Um, so as somebody who's teaching now and somebody who is leading the crew right in the morning, and we all know Josh does the curriculum, but what do you feel has been your biggest takeaway as a teacher now, and what do you feel has been your greatest moment as a teacher?
Dude, my takeaway is always gonna be the guys asking for more. Once a guy asks you for more, is like more rounds, more time to roll, more techniques, more drilling time. It's that tells you that you're doing a decent job, and they wanna focus on what you're teaching them and what you tell me works. Uh, Good, and then you see them progress. You see them, like you tell them, hey, why don't you stand like this? You're a big guy. Just stand this way instead of this way. And then they realize, oh, holy cow, I can use my weight on this guy. Let me do this. Those are that's satisfaction, just to know that these guys they're actually listening to you, and I love that. But
Awesome.
like I always tell everybody, it's like, dude, I want you to get better. I want you to one day to beat me, to submit me, to choke me, to do whatever, because that's the day that I'm gonna have to improve myself. That's the day that I have to push a little bit harder just to improve. And if I can push it to improve, I'm gonna push myself to improve. So that's the satisfaction to teach and to make sure that you guys get better.
Awesome. So, what do you, other than the knee bar, other than the ankle, the footlock game, 20, you know, the end, we're coming halfway point. Hopefully the gyms will start opening up soon. And yes, to RV's point, half guard for life. Um, with with all of that being said, what are you personally looking to focus on getting out of going into your first full year as a brown belt? What is it that you're looking to focus on differently when you get back on the mats, if any?
Like the thing that I was focused on since at the beginning of the year. You know, I don't know if you knew that I was in a car accident at the beginning of January.
I had heard. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so you know, so that time I wasn't training 100%. I think I was training like 20-30%. But at that time, I started working with Angel, which is she's blind. We all know that. But
Wait, really quick, for those watching that may not know, because remember, we have
sorry,
people that are watching that may not know. Angel is a gentleman who trains at Clockwork. He has a video up and a foundation himself. Angel is blind, legally blind. And Angel got his blue belt, so he's and he's also a competitor. So
oh
not only
hell
is
yeah.
Angel blind, but he's a competitor, and he's a pretty kick-ass dude with some kick-ass game. But anyway, I will let you finish your Angel story.
And he has a
Sorry.
radio show, just in case you guys didn't
Oh,
know.
he's got a radio. I did not know that he has a radio show.
So you know, like I started like I couldn't train, so you know, his foundation sponsors me. His foundation sponsors veterans and you know like people with disabilities. So since I'm a veteran, they started sponsoring me, and I was like, man, thank you for trusting me. And one of the things that I told him is like, I will, whenever you're in the gym, I will come early, and and we do some work. And so since the beginning of the year, I started working with him until all these things happened, and he was improving, so he was getting better. And that's the thing that I want to concentrate. I want Angel to go in there and kick ass and be like, and people see him like, dude, you're not blind. You kill me. There's no way you're blind. So that's the way. That's what I want to concentrate for the rest of the year. The day that people tells me there's no way that guy is blind, I'm gonna be like, cool, I'm done. Move on to the
Awesome.
next one.
Awesome. Guys, if you have any questions, I got time for one more quick question. But I do want to ask Juan a last question for me, and I think it's a lot of what maybe some of the viewers and the people that actually know you are wondering. Where does Juan get this huge heart from? Where does Juan? Hello,
The
hello.
heart comes from her.
Where does Juan get this huge heart from? And yeah, where I mean, not that we don't all have huge hearts, but Juan, you stand out as a gentleman among gentlemen. So where does Juan get this big heart from?
If I have to pick one person, the person that makes me better is always my wife. I will if you meet my wife, I will always introduce my wife as my beautiful wife, because of the simple fact that she picked me when I was on the ground and under, and she always stood by my side. She you know like she gave me the best gifts, my kids. So you know like she makes me better. The heart though, it comes from my grandma. My grandma always told me you have to be polite, and if you have food and somebody asks you for food and you give that away, it's gonna make you feel better than if your stomach was full. So go ahead and give your food away. So yeah.
That is one of the best answers that I've ever had on this show. And I met your wife. Your wife is an hysterical person. She
She's
threatened to
not a
kick
soft
somebody.
cookie, that's for sure.
She threatened to kick somebody's ass. They called her out for taking photos at the last promotion and taking too long. And she threatened to kick their ass, and it was the best thing of the night.
Yeah,
So.
she will make people cry, that's for sure.
With that being said, Juan, that is the end of the show tonight. First off, I want to say thank you so much for taking the time to join me. With that being said, I will throw it to you, my friend, to close out any closing comments, anything you want to talk about.
Dude, if you guys curious about Angel, you know, he has a website, and just look me up on Instagram. His website is there. For his foundation, choose, you know, you guys want to help him out, go for it. It's always good to help. Um, if you want to learn knee bars, I'm your boy.
He is.
You want to learn half guard and how to be miserable within the half guard, ask you. And come train with us, man. Come train at Clockwork. We're always fun. It's always fun.
Awesome. Awesome. Juan, thank you so much, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you. That is the end of the show tonight. Join us on Monday night at 8:30 p.m., where John Thomas from Tap Cancer Out will be my guest. Thank you guys so much. Again, join us on the Half Guard Half Hour next Monday with Tap Cancer.